Natalie Chen checked her watch for the third time in 5 minutes. Running late had become her unfortunate specialty lately. Working as a senior marketing consultant at Castellano Tech meant juggling multiple campaigns, client meetings, and endless strategy sessions. She loved the challenge, but some days felt like a marathon without a finish line. The gleaming lobby of Castellano Tech buzzed with afternoon energy as Natalie rushed toward the private executive elevators. Her arms were full of presentation boards, her tablet balanced precariously on top, and her phone kept buzzing with notifications. She managed to press the call button with her elbow, silently praying the elevator would arrive before everything came crashing down. The doors slid open with a soft chime. Natalie stepped inside, grateful for the momentary peace. She leaned against the cool metal wall and exhaled deeply. Just as the doors began closing, a hand shot through the gap. Victor Castellano entered the elevator. Natalie felt her breath catch the way it always did when she encountered him. The founder and CEO of Castellano Tech was striking in every sense. At 35, he had built a technology empire that revolutionized artificial intelligence applications. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his charcoal suit tailored to perfection, and his brown eyes held an intensity that made people feel simultaneously seen and vulnerable. Tension. Rises, hello. Miss Chen. His voice was deep and smooth, sending an involuntary shiver through her. Good evening, Mr. Castellano. Natalie adjusted her grip on the presentation boards, trying to appear professional despite her racing heart. They had worked together for 18 months now. Natalie had led several successful campaigns that significantly boosted the company's market presence. Their professional relationship was cordial, respectful, and maddeningly charged with an unspoken tension that Natalie tried desperately to ignore. The elevator hummed as it climbed. Natalie stared at the ascending numbers, acutely aware of Victor standing just a few feet away. His presence filled the small space, making the air feel thicker, harder to breathe. Her phone buzzed again. Seeing the name flash on screen, Natalie quickly answered, turning slightly toward the corner for privacy. The call that changed everything. Hey there, my love. Her voice softened naturally, filled with genuine warmth. I know. I promised I would be there on time tonight. Your exhibition is incredibly important to me. I would not miss it for anything in the world. The atmosphere in the elevator shifted dramatically. Natalie could feel rather than see Victor stiffen beside her. When she glanced his way, his jaw was clenched tight, his hands curled into fists. His eyes had gone cold, almost dangerous. I will be there by 7, I promise. Love you so much. Natalie ended the call and slipped her phone back into her pocket. The silence that followed felt suffocating. 12, 13, 14. The floor numbers continued their steady climb. Important plans tonight. Victor's voice cut through the quiet like a knife edge. Natalie turned to face him, surprised by the hardness in his tone. Yes, very important plans. The breaking point Victor took a step closer, then another. Natalie found herself backing up until the elevator wall pressed against her spine. Her presentation board slipped slightly in her arms. Personal business. His voice had dropped lower, rougher. That is correct. Natalie lifted her chin, meeting his gaze directly despite her thundering heart. Is there something you need to discuss, Mr. Castellano? Victor. His eyes blazed with barely controlled emotion. How many times have I asked you to call me Victor when we are alone? It would be unprofessional. The words came out breathier than Natalie intended. Victor moved closer still, placing one hand on the wall beside her head. The presentation boards were now the only barrier between them. Unprofessional. He let out a harsh laugh. Nothing about what I feel for you is professional, Natalie. Her eyes widened. What did you just say? You heard me perfectly. His gaze dropped to her lips before returning to her eyes, burning with intensity. Who was that on the phone? Jealousy. Unleashed. The audacity of the question left Natalie momentarily speechless. Then realization dawned, bringing with it a dangerous mixture of power and something she had been suppressing for months. Are you jealous, Mr. Castellano? Completely. He did not even attempt to deny it. I am losing my mind, Natalie. Watching you smile at clients, seeing you laugh with other team members, existing in the same building without being able to tell you what I feel. It is torture. Natalie's heart pounded so loudly she was certain he could hear it. All those months of lingering glances, the accidental touches that felt intentional, the way his eyes would follow her during meetings. Everything suddenly made perfect sense, and then you answer a call right beside me. Victor continued, his voice raw with emotion. Calling someone my love, expecting me to stand here and pretend it does not destroy me. Before Natalie could respond, before she could think, Victor closed the distance between them. The presentation boards clattered to the floor as his lips found hers. The kiss that changed everything. The kiss was fierce and desperate, filled with 18 months of restrained desire. Victor's lips moved against hers with a hunger that matched exactly what she had been feeling, but never dared admit. Natalie's hands found his shoulders, gripping his expensive suit jacket. Pulling him closer instead of pushing him away, Victor responded by pressing against her, deepening the kiss until Natalie could not think about anything except him. The taste of him. The feel of his body against hers, the way he kissed her like she was oxygen, and he had been drowning. The elevator chimed softly, reaching the 20th floor. They broke apart, both breathing heavily, staring at each other in shock and wonder. The doors opened to reveal a group of employees waiting to enter. Everyone froze at the scene before them. Natalie pressed against the wall, her lips swollen and cheeks flushed. Victor standing inches away, his usually perfect hair disheveled, his breathing labored. The silence stretched painfully. Return to your work. Victor's voice was calm despite everything. He straightened his jacket and extended his hand to Natalie. Shall we? Still dazed, Natalie took his hand and let him lead her out of the elevator. The employees stared as they walked past, but neither seemed to care anymore. Victor led Natalie down the corridor toward his private office, their fingers still intertwined. Natalie could feel every eye in the hallway following them, could hear the whispers starting already. By tomorrow morning, the entire company would know that their CEO had kissed the marketing consultant in the elevator. The heavy oak door closed behind them with a soft click. Victor leaned against it, running a hand through his disheveled hair. His eyes never left Natalie's face. We need to talk. His voice was quieter now, more uncertain. Yes, we definitely need to talk. Natalie set her retrieved presentation boards on the nearest chair. Her hands were trembling slightly. The entire office is going to be buzzing about this by morning, probably already started. Victor moved away from the door, pacing toward the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. I should apologize. That was completely inappropriate. I am your boss. I had no right to kiss you like that, especially not in front of other employees. Natalie watched him struggle with his emotions. This powerful, confident man who commanded boardrooms and negotiated million-dollar deals suddenly looked vulnerable. She made a decision in that moment to be honest, to be brave. A sister's love that call was from Lily, my younger sister. She is 15 years old, and tonight is the opening of her first real art exhibition at the downtown gallery. I have been calling her my love since she was born. Victor stopped pacing. He turned slowly, his expression shifting from resignation to disbelief to something that looked like relief mixed with embarrassment. Your sister. Yes, my sister. Natalie could not help the smile that tugged at her lips. You just kissed me in front of half the office because you were jealous of a teenage girl when you phrase it like that. Victor started, then stopped. He shook his head, a reluctant smile appearing. It sounds completely irrational and possessive. It was. Natalie took a step toward him. Her voice softened. But do you regret it? Raw. Honesty Victor closed the distance between them in 3 long strides. His hands came up to cup her face gently, his thumbs brushing her cheekbones. Regret. He searched her eyes intently. The only thing I regret is not being honest with you sooner, not telling you that I have thought about you every single day since you walked into your interview 18 months. Natalie's breath caught. Victor. Regret sitting through meetings, unable to concentrate, because you were presenting ideas that were brilliant and beautiful just like you. I regret every moment I pretended to be unaffected when you smiled at someone else. I regret holding back when all I wanted was this." He kissed her again, softer this time, more tender. It was not the desperate kiss of the elevator, but something deeper, more meaningful. When they finally pulled apart, Natalie rested her forehead against his chest. "I need to be honest with you about something, too." She spoke quietly, feeling his heartbeat under her palm. "I love my position here. I have worked incredibly hard to build my reputation. I do not want anyone thinking I am receiving special treatment or that I am with you for the wrong reasons." Victor pulled back slightly to look at her face. "What do you need from me?" Natalie appreciated that he asked rather than assumed. "First, no favoritism at work. I want to earn every promotion, every project, every recognition on my own merit. If I succeed, it should be because of my skills, not because I'm dating the CEO. Dating." Victor's smile widened. "I like the sound of that." "Second," Natalie continued, trying to stay focused despite the way he was looking at her. "We keep things private initially. Not secret, but private. I want us to really know each other outside these office walls before we make any big announcements. We need to be sure this is real." Victor nodded thoughtfully. "That makes sense. And third, Natalie paused, gathering courage for the difficult part. "If this does not work out, we handle it maturely. I am not losing my career over a relationship no matter how much I care about you. We have to promise to be professional if things fall apart. A condition of his own, fair enough." Victor agreed readily. "But I have a condition too, which is, you let me take you to Lily's exhibition tonight." His eyes sparkled with warmth. "I want to meet the person who inadvertently caused me to lose control in that elevator. Plus, if I am going to date you properly, I should start by meeting your family." Natalie felt her heart melt. "You want to come to a high school student's art show? I want to be wherever you are." Victor said it so simply, so sincerely, that Natalie had to blink back unexpected tears. "Is that okay? More than okay." She smiled, rising on her toes to kiss him briefly. "But we should probably fix your hair first. You look like someone just attacked you in an elevator." Victor laughed, the sound rich and genuine. "Someone did. Best attack of my life." The exhibition. They spent the next hour finishing work, maintaining professional distance when others were around but stealing glances across the room. Victor treated Natalie exactly as he always had during meetings, but now she noticed the small things. The way his eyes would soften when they landed on her, the slight smile that played at his lips when she made a point, the subtle shift in his posture when she entered a room. When they finally left the building together, Natalie could feel curious stares following them. She held her head high, Victor's hand resting lightly on her lower back as they walked to his car. The drive to the gallery was filled with conversation. Victor asked about Lily, about their family, about Natalie's life outside of work. She found herself opening up in ways she rarely did, sharing stories about growing up with just her sister after their parents died in a car accident 7 years ago. "You raised her." Victor's voice filled with admiration. "I was 20. She was 8. We did not have much choice." Natalie looked out the window at the passing city lights. "But honestly, she saved me as much as I saved her. Having someone to care for gave me purpose when I felt completely lost." Meeting Lily, Victor reached over and took her hand, squeezing gently. "You are remarkable, Natalie Chen." The downtown gallery was bustling with people when they arrived. Young artists and their families filled the bright space, admiring paintings and sculptures displayed on white walls and pedestals. Natalie scanned the crowd, quickly spotting Lily standing nervously beside her collection of paintings. Lily was small and delicate, with long, dark hair and expressive eyes that looked enormous in her face. She wore a simple black dress, twisting her hands together as people examined her work. When she spotted Natalie, her face lit up with relief and joy. "Nat." Lily rushed over, throwing her arms around her sister. "You came." "Of course I came." Natalie hugged her tightly. Then she stepped back, gesturing to Victor. "Lily, this is Victor. He is my boss and my boyfriend. Lily's eyes went wide, darting between them. "Since when? And wait, is this the handsome billionaire boss you mentioned once when you thought I was sleeping?" Natalie's face turned bright red. "Lily!" Breaking the ice, Victor laughed, extending his hand to Lily. "That would be me. Though I hope I live up to the description. It is wonderful to meet you, Lily. Your sister talks about you constantly." Lily shook his hand, studying him with the intense scrutiny only a protective younger sister could manage. "So you are dating Nat. Does this mean you know she is way too good for you, Lily?" Natalie protested, mortified. But Victor just smiled wider. "Absolutely. Your sister is extraordinary, and I am very aware of how lucky I am. Which is why I brought you this." He pulled out a small wrapped box from his jacket pocket. Lily's eyes widened as she opened it to reveal a delicate silver bracelet with tiny paint palette charms. "This is beautiful." Lily's voice softened. "Thank you so much. Your sister mentioned you have been working incredibly hard on your art," Victor said warmly. "I wanted you to have something to commemorate your first real exhibition." A perfect evening, Lily looked at Natalie with shining eyes, then back at Victor. "Okay, you can date my sister, but if you hurt her, I know where you work." "Fair enough," Victor agreed solemnly, though his eyes danced with amusement. They spent the next 2 hours walking through the exhibition. Victor asked Lily thoughtful questions about her technique, her inspiration, her artistic vision. He seemed genuinely interested, not just making polite conversation. Natalie watched them interact, feeling something warm and hopeful bloom in her chest. Lily's paintings were stunning. Abstract pieces that somehow captured emotion in color and movement. Victor stood for a long time in front of one particular piece, a swirl of blues and silvers that felt like joy and sorrow mixed together. "This one is called Finding Light," Lily explained quietly. "I painted it after Nat helped me through a really hard time last year. It is beautiful," Victor said sincerely. "You have real talent, Lily." New beginnings later, they took Lily out for dinner at her favorite Italian restaurant. Victor fit seamlessly into their dynamic, joking with Lily about her dramatic art teacher and listening intently as she talked about her dreams of attending the prestigious Riverside Art Academy for college. "Nat worries about the cost," Lily said, twirling pasta on her fork. "But I have been applying for every scholarship I can find. Your sister is amazing." Victor looked at Natalie with such warmth that she felt her chest tighten. "She will make sure you get there. We will make sure you get there," Natalie corrected, squeezing Lily's hand across the table. After dropping Lily back at their modest apartment, Victor drove Natalie to his penthouse overlooking the river. The space was stunning but comfortable, decorated with personal touches that made it feel like a home rather than a showpiece. "Coffee," Victor offered, heading to the kitchen. "Please." Natalie walked to the windows, taking in the breathtaking view of the city lights reflecting on dark water. He returned with 2 mugs and stood beside her. "Your sister is wonderful. You have done an incredible job raising her. She makes it easy," Natalie said softly. "Though I worry constantly about money, about being enough, about whether I am making the right decisions." "You are more than enough," Victor said firmly. Then he hesitated. "Can I ask you something? Anything. The real question, why me?" Victor's vulnerability showed through again. "You could have anyone. Why take a chance on a complicated relationship with your boss? Why risk everything you have worked for?" Natalie set down her coffee and turned to face him fully. "Because you see me, not just as an employee or a consultant, but as a whole person. You challenge me intellectually. You respect my work. You care about the things that matter to me, like Lily. And honestly, because I have not been able to stop thinking about you since my first day at Castellano Tech." Victor set down his own coffee and cupped her face in his hands. "I am going to do everything I can to deserve you. You already do," Natalie whispered. He kissed her then, slow and deep, and Natalie knew with absolute certainty that everything had changed. This was not just attraction or infatuation. This was something real, something worth fighting for. Morning sunlight streamed through the windows of Natalie's apartment as she rushed around getting ready for work. 6 months had passed since that fateful elevator kiss, and her life had transformed in ways she never imagined possible. Dating Victor had brought challenges, certainly, but also a depth of happiness she had not known existed. Their relationship remained private, but not secret. Close colleagues knew they were together, but they maintained strict professionalism at work. Natalie had earned 2 major client accounts entirely on her own merit, and Victor made certain everyone knew it. He championed her work publicly while keeping their personal relationship separate. Lily had become completely comfortable with Victor, often texting him directly about art supplies or asking his opinion on college applications. He had become a fixture in their small family, joining them for Sunday dinners and attending Lily's art competitions without being asked. Natalie grabbed her briefcase and phone, checking messages quickly. One from Victor made her smile. Running late to the morning meeting. Save me a seat next to the beautiful marketing consultant who tolerates my coffee addiction, she typed back quickly. The beautiful marketing consultant says bring her a latte and she might share her notes. Storm clouds gathering. The offices of Castellano Tech hummed with unusual tension when Natalie arrived. People clustered in small groups, whispering urgently. Something was wrong. Jennifer from accounting rushed over. Have you heard? There is a major problem with the titanium project. The client is threatening to pull out completely. They claim our AI system has critical security flaws. Natalie felt her stomach drop. The titanium project was Castellano Tech's biggest contract, worth over $50 million. Losing it would be devastating, not just financially, but for the company's reputation. Where is Victor? Emergency board meeting. Jennifer's expression was grim. It started an hour ago. Natalie headed straight for her office, pulling up everything related to the titanium project. She had not worked directly on the technical side, but she had handled all the marketing and client communications. If there was a security flaw, it was a technical issue. But if the client was threatening to leave, there might be more to the story. She spent the next 3 hours digging through emails, reports, and communications. Slowly, a picture emerged. The so-called security flaw was not a flaw at all. It was a misunderstanding about how the encryption protocols worked. But someone had fed incorrect information to the client, making them panic. Standing by him, the emergency board meeting finally ended just after noon. Victor emerged looking exhausted and angry. His tie was loosened, his hair disheveled from running his hands through it. When he saw Natalie waiting outside the conference room, some of the tension left his shoulders. "Can we talk?" Natalie asked quietly. In private, they went to his office. Victor collapsed into his chair, rubbing his face with both hands. "This is a disaster. The board wants me to give the client whatever concessions they demand, even though we did nothing wrong. They are talking about taking a $15 million loss just to keep the contract. I found something." Natalie pulled out her tablet. "The security concerns are based on false information. Look at this email chain. Someone from Davidson Industries has been feeding the client misleading technical analysis." Victor sat up straighter, scanning through the documents. Davidson Industries was their biggest competitor. They are trying to sabotage the deal. Natalie continued. "But I think I can fix this. Let me set up a meeting with the client. I can walk them through the actual security protocols, show them the independent audits, and prove that Davidson has been lying to them." Natalie. Victor looked at her with a mixture of admiration and concern. "If this backfires, it could damage your reputation too. You do not have to put yourself on the line for this." "Taking the risk, yes, I do," Natalie said firmly. "Not because you are my boyfriend, but because this company means something to me. Because the technology we have built actually helps people. And because I am not going to stand by and watch someone destroy what we have all worked so hard to create." Victor stood and walked around the desk, pulling her into his arms. "What did I do to deserve you? You brought my sister a bracelet." Natalie smiled against his chest. "And you let her beat you at card games even though we both know you were throwing the matches." The client meeting was scheduled for the next morning. Natalie spent the entire evening preparing, reviewing technical documents, consulting with the engineering team, and building an airtight presentation. Victor offered to help, but she insisted on handling it herself. This had to be on her own merit. Lily called around 10 that evening. "Nat, Victor told me about the work crisis. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetie. Just preparing for an important meeting tomorrow. You are going to be amazing." Lily's confidence was absolute. "You always are. And Nat, Victor really loves you. I can tell." The crucial meeting. The client meeting took place in Castellano Tech's largest conference room. The clients arrived looking skeptical and defensive. Victor sat at the table but remained quiet, letting Natalie take the lead as promised. For 90 minutes, Natalie presented evidence, explained technical details in clear language, and systematically dismantled every concern the client had raised. She showed them how Davidson Industries had misrepresented the encryption protocols. She provided independent security audits from 3 different firms. She walked them through real-world applications that proved the system's reliability. By the end, the lead client representative was nodding thoughtfully. "Miss Chen, this is very different from what we were told. You have given us a lot to reconsider. I understand you have concerns," Natalie said calmly. "Security is paramount, and you should absolutely verify everything I have shown you today. We welcome additional independent audits. But I think you will find that Castellano Tech has delivered exactly what we promised, and Davidson Industries has been deliberately trying to undermine that." The clients left promising to review everything carefully. Victor waited until the door closed before pulling Natalie into a tight embrace. "You were incredible. That was the most impressive presentation I have ever witnessed." 2 days later, the client confirmed they were keeping the contract and even expanding it. The crisis was over. The board meeting that followed was full of congratulations and relief. Several board members specifically praised Natalie's work. A grand gesture that weekend, Victor asked Natalie to join him for dinner at an exclusive rooftop restaurant. The view was spectacular. The entire city spread out beneath them like a carpet of lights. They talked about work, about Lily's college applications, about plans for the upcoming holidays. The conversation flowed easily, as it always did between them. After dessert, Victor became quieter, more thoughtful. "Natalie, there is something I need to say." He reached across the table and took her hand. "These past 6 months have been the happiest of my life. You challenge me, support me, and make me want to be better every single day." Victor. Natalie's heart began beating faster. "Before I met you, I thought success meant building a company, making money, and achieving recognition. But you taught me that real success is having someone to share everything with. Someone who sees all of you, the good and the difficult, and chooses to stay anyway." He stood up and moved to her side of the table. Then, in front of the entire restaurant, Victor Castellano got down on one knee. "The proposal, Natalie Chen. You are the most remarkable person I have ever known. You are brilliant, compassionate, strong, and so beautiful it hurts to look at you sometimes. You raised an incredible sister while building a career most people only dream about. You saved my company not because you had to, but because you believe in doing what is right." Victor pulled out a small velvet box and opened it. Inside was a ring with a stunning diamond surrounded by smaller sapphires that matched Natalie's eyes. "I know we have only been together 6 months. I know some people will say it is too soon, but I have never been more certain of anything in my life. I want to spend every day proving that I deserve you. I want to help Lily achieve her dreams. I want to build a life with you, full of challenges and triumphs and quiet Sunday mornings. Natalie, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Natalie's face. The entire restaurant had gone silent, watching them. She could see other diners holding their breath, waiting. "Yes." The word came out as a whisper, then stronger. "Yes, Victor. Absolutely yes." The restaurant erupted in applause as Victor slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her. Natalie laughed and cried at the same time, overwhelmed by joy. Telling Lily, they drove straight to Natalie's apartment. Lily was working on a painting when they burst through the door. She took one look at their faces and gasped. "No way." "Did he propose?" Natalie held out her hand, showing the ring. Lily shrieked and launched herself at them both, creating a 3-way hug that nearly knocked them all over. "This is amazing. I am so happy for you." Lily pulled back, looking at Victor with mock seriousness. "But remember what I said. If you hurt her, I know where you work. I would never hurt her," Victor promised. "And Lily, I want you to know something. When I marry your sister, I am not just gaining a wife. I am gaining a sister, too. Your happiness and future matter to me just as much as Natalie's. I hope you know that." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "Can I hug you again?" "Always." They stayed up late that night, the 3 of them, talking about wedding plans and the future. Victor mentioned that he had already looked into scholarships for Riverside Art Academy and knew of several grants Lily qualified for. Natalie felt overwhelmed by gratitude, not just for his help, but for how naturally he had become part of their family. New beginnings. 2 weeks later, Natalie and Victor made their engagement official at work. The announcement was met with genuine happiness from most colleagues. A few whispered about favoritism, but Natalie's track record spoke for itself. She had proven her worth long before anyone knew about her relationship with Victor. The titanium project became one of Castellano Tech's biggest successes. The client was so impressed with Natalie's handling of the crisis that they requested her specifically for future projects. She earned a promotion to Senior Director of Strategic Marketing, a position she accepted with pride, knowing she had earned it entirely on merit. Lily received early acceptance to Riverside Art Academy with a full scholarship. When the letter arrived, she called both Natalie and Victor, crying happy tears. The three of them celebrated with pizza and terrible karaoke, laughing until their sides hurt. Planning the wedding became a family affair. Lily insisted on creating custom artwork for the invitations. Victor's mother, who Natalie adored, helped with venue selection. The ceremony would be small and intimate, just close friends and family. Exactly what they both wanted. Full circle, one evening, several months after the engagement, Natalie found herself back in the executive elevator at Castellano Tech. She was heading up to meet Victor after a long day of meetings. As the doors began to close, she smiled, remembering that fateful afternoon 6 months earlier. The elevator stopped at the 15th floor. A young woman got on, juggling files and looking stressed. She reminded Natalie of herself not so long ago, working hard and trying to prove herself. Long day? Natalie asked kindly. The longest. The woman sighed. But I love it here. This company feels different. Like people actually care about the work and about each other. They do. Natalie smiled. Trust me, great things can happen here when you least expect them. The elevator reached the executive floor. Natalie stepped out and walked toward Victor's office. Through the glass walls, she could see him on the phone, gesturing animatedly. When he spotted her, his entire face lit up with that smile reserved just for her. She thought about that phone call in the elevator, the one that had changed everything. One simple phrase, my love, spoken to her sister, had triggered a chain of events that led to this moment. To a love deeper than she had imagined possible. To a partnership built on respect, trust, and genuine care. To a future bright with promise. Victor ended his call and came to meet her at the door, pulling her into his arms and kissing her softly. Ready to go home? He asked. Home. The word felt perfect. Not just a place, but a feeling. A sense of belonging she had found with this man who saw her completely and loved her anyway. Always, Natalie answered, taking his hand. As they left the building together, Natalie glanced back at the elevator one more time. Sometimes, she thought, the most extraordinary love stories begin with the simplest moments. A phone call, a misunderstanding, a leap of faith. And sometimes, if you are very lucky, those moments lead to forever. The end.